The handshake at the net was supposed to be nothing more than a formality, a respectful close to a tense match. But after Victoria Golubic's quarterfinal win over rising star Alexandra Eala at the 2025 Suzhou Open, what unfolded in those few seconds turned into one of the most talked-about moments of the WTA season. As cameras from Tennis Channel Asia continued to roll, something in Golubic's demeanor shifted. She leaned toward the 19-year-old Filipino, her body language tight, her expression intense. Though her words were inaudible to most viewers, the exchange visibly unsettled Eala, whose face changed from disappointment to confusion and discomfort. Within hours, that short clip became the centerpiece of an internet storm. Fans across social media analyzed it frame by frame, with lip readers and translators attempting to decipher what had been said. On tennis forums stretching from Manila to Zurich, arguments erupted. Was Golubic, a 31-year-old veteran, simply reacting emotionally after a grueling match? Or had she crossed a line by confronting a teenager at the net? The debate quickly evolved into a wider conversation about sportsmanship, generational tension in tennis, and how the WTA should handle heated post-match moments when the cameras are rolling. Viewership for that particular match spiked dramatically. Tennis Channel Asia reported a 47% surge in audience numbers during the final games compared to previous Suzhou Open broadcasts. The WTA app registered nearly 180,000 concurrent viewers across Southeast Asia, the highest for any match that week not involving a Grand Slam champion. What those viewers witnessed wasn't just a dramatic finish, but an incident that appeared to breach both the written and unwritten codes of player conduct. The match itself had been a marathon, 3 sets over 2 hours and 38 minutes. Eala, ranked just outside the top 100, had come agonizingly close to one of the biggest wins of her young career. Serving for the match at 5-4 in the deciding set, she held 2 match points but failed to convert them. Golubic, ranked 143rd but known for her tactical skill and grit, fought back to take 3 straight games and seal a 6-4, 3-6, 7-5 victory. The local crowd at the Suzhou Olympic Sports Center, around 3,200 spectators in a venue that seats 4,500, had been firmly behind Eala. Filipino fans had made their presence felt throughout the week, with travel packages from Manila to Suzhou reportedly up by nearly 300% compared to the previous year. For many of them, Eala represented not just talent, but hope, a symbol of Southeast Asia's growing influence in global tennis. When the final point ended, a forehand from Eala that clipped the net, both players approached the net for the traditional handshake. What happened next has been scrutinized down to the millisecond. According to frame-by-frame analysis shared on social media, the handshake itself lasted just over a second and appeared polite. But as Eala began to turn toward the umpire's chair, Golubic reached out and grabbed her forearm, pulling her slightly back toward the net. The courtside microphones, which usually capture bits of conversation during changeovers, picked up fragments of their exchange. Although the audio was poor, several lip-reading experts later analyzed the footage. 2 forensic lip readers cited by Tennis.com claimed Golubic appeared to say something beginning with "don't ever" and ending with "disrespect me again." Filipino journalists, with help from translators familiar with Golubic's Swiss-German accent, suggested the full line could have been, "Don't ever pump your fist like that in my face again. You need to learn respect." This interpretation seemed to match earlier moments in the match. When Eala broke Golubic's serve to lead 5-3 in the final set, she had celebrated with a powerful fist pump aimed toward her player box, but roughly in Golubic's direction. While such celebrations are common in modern tennis, some older players view them as provocations, especially during tense matches that Eala's reaction at the net, captured clearly on camera, suggested she was caught off guard. I didn't mean," she began to say before trailing off. Her expression mixed confusion with unease as she glanced toward the umpire, perhaps expecting the official to intervene. The chair umpire, apparently unaware of the exchange's intensity, was already gathering belongings and preparing to leave the court. Within about 8 seconds, Golubic released Eala's arm and turned toward her bench. Eala remained motionless at the net for several seconds longer before walking slowly back to her chair. What might have passed unnoticed in a smaller event became headline news thanks to the live broadcast. social media caught fire almost instantly. A 15-second clip of the incident posted on X, formerly Twitter, by the account at WTStatsLive, captioned Golubic appears to confront Eala after QF win in Suzhou. Anyone got better audio? Drew over 2.3 million views in 4 hours. On Reddit's r/tennis forum, the thread discussing the clip became the most active since Naomi Osaka's 2021 French Open withdrawal, with thousands debating whether Golubic's behavior was out of line or simply a case of frustration boiling over. In the Philippines, fan reaction was immediate and emotional. Online communities like Pinoy Exchange and local sports pages filled with messages of support for Eala. Many called on the WTA to review the footage, arguing that physical contact of any kind after a match should be off-limits. Others defended Golubic, suggesting her words were stern but not threatening, an older player reminding a younger opponent about respect. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, the reaction was more muted. Several Swiss sports outlets described the moment as heated but understandable, emphasizing Golubic's reputation as an emotional competitor rather than an aggressive one. Still, as international scrutiny mounted, the WTA was reportedly reviewing the broadcast footage and match report. Commentators quickly picked up on the broader implications. The confrontation highlighted not just individual tempers, but generational differences in tennis culture. Younger players like Eala, Coco Gauff, and Emma Raducanu have brought a new style of self-expression, fist pumps, roars, and visible emotion. Many veterans, raised in an era that prized composure and restraint, sometimes see these celebrations as disrespectful or showy. This cultural clash isn't new, but the Suzhou incident thrust it into sharp focus. For a sport striving to modernize while honoring tradition, it raised difficult questions. How much emotion is too much? Where is the line between passion and disrespect? And how should the WTA respond when those tensions play out live on air? By the following morning, news outlets from ESPN to the BBC had picked up the story. Slow-motion replays, expert analyses, and reaction compilations dominated social media feeds. Some fans called for an apology from Golubic. Others demanded that the WTA set clearer guidelines on post-match conduct. Eala, for her part, remained quiet, posting only a short message on Instagram thanking fans for their support and saying she was focused on learning and moving forward. Golubic declined interviews immediately after the match, and her camp issued no official statement that day. Still, the damage, or impact, was done. What began as a handshake had become a flashpoint for the sport, a symbol of both the growing pains and the passion that make tennis such a human spectacle. The Suzhou Open continued, but for many, the defining image of the tournament wasn't the forehand rallies or the final trophy ceremony. It was that tense 8-second moment at the net, a reminder that in tennis, as in life, emotions don't always end when the match does.